They just said, no, Mom, we really want to do this. So,
in a shocking revelation, Joni Lamb tells her son Jonathan that Doug Weiss is actually more active than her late husband Marcus Lamb ever was. This surprising statement has sent shockwaves through their family and ministry, leaving many to wonder, what does this mean for the future of Dayar Network? Why is Doug taking on such a prominent role? And how does this shift affect the legacy of Marcus? The truth behind this bold claim is unraveling, and it's raising more questions than answers. Joni Lamb's recent statement about Doug Weiss has left many people in shock. She told her son Jonathan that Doug was actually more active in their ministry than her late husband Marcus Lamb ever was. This revelation came as a complete surprise to those who have followed the Lamb family and Dayar Network for years. Marcus was the driving force behind the network, known for his leadership and dedication. He built Dayar from the ground up, leading it with a vision that touched millions of lives.
We stand firm in our faith, knowing that God is with us, and His purpose for Daystar is far greater than any present challenge we may be facing. While this attack is very painful and wrong, I know that our battle is not against flesh and blood.
So, hearing Joni say that Doug, who had only recently become a part of their lives, was taking on more responsibility than Marcus ever did, raised a lot of eyebrows. Joni's words have sparked a lot of speculation. Some are wondering if this is a natural progression for the ministry after Marcus's death, while others are questioning whether Doug's role is being inflated for reasons that go beyond what the public sees. Why would Joni make such a bold statement, and what does it mean for the future of Dayar? Is she just trying to give Doug a more prominent role to support her emotionally after Marcus's death? Or is there something deeper at play here? The idea that Doug has stepped into a position of leadership that surpasses Marcus's level of involvement is not something that many people expected. While Doug has been a part of the ministry for a while, he was never seen as a figurehead in the same way Marcus was. But now, with Joni openly admitting that Doug is more active, it raises questions about where this leaves the legacy of Marcus Lamb and what the future holds for Dayar. This statement is just the beginning of what could be a major shift in the direction of the network, and it has left viewers and followers wondering about the true motivations behind it.
You see, Jonathan was extremely disappointed that he was not named the future president of Daystar following the death of his father and my husband, Marcus Lamb, despite the fact that Marcus had given a clear directive to the family and to the board that I would succeed him as president. Jonathan's disappointment in not getting his way only deepened.
The Daystar Network, once a beacon for Christian programming, built its foundation on the vision and leadership of Marcus Lamb. For decades, Marcus was the face of the network, guiding its growth and expansion while creating a platform for Christian values to reach a global audience. His teachings on faith, marriage, family, and healing were central to the message Daystar broadcasted, and it was through his leadership that the network became one of the largest Christian television outlets in the world. Viewers trusted Marcus, not just as a preacher, but as a symbol of integrity and unwavering faith. However, since Marcus' passing, there's been a noticeable shift in the direction of Daystar, particularly with the increasing influence of Doug Weiss, Joni Lamb's new husband. Joni's recent statement that Doug is more active in the ministry than Marcus ever was has raised significant concerns about what the future holds for Daystar. What does it mean for the legacy of Marcus Lamb? And how will Doug Weiss's growing influence shape the network in the coming years? Daystar's reputation has always been tied to its founder, Marcus, and the values he espoused. He was a charismatic leader who connected with millions of people through his teachings and personal example. He spoke about overcoming obstacles, staying true to your faith, and building strong, Christ-centered families. Under Marcus's leadership, Daystar grew, and his vision for the network continued to shape its programming. Marcus's deep commitment to his beliefs made him a trusted figure in the Christian community, and his ministry resonated with people on a deeply personal level. Now, with Joni's comment about Doug's increased role, it seems that the network's future could look vastly different from the path Marcus had set. While Doug Weiss has worked alongside Joni for some time, his rapid ascent into a position of power within the network is raising eyebrows. Doug's increasing visibility on Daystar and his active role in ministry have many questioning how much of the original vision Marcus had for the network will remain. Is this a natural evolution, or is it a sign of something more dramatic happening behind the scenes? The transition from Marcus's leadership to Doug's influence may not be as smooth as some hope. It's hard for many to imagine Daystar without Marcus at the helm, and Doug's involvement raises concerns about whether the network will retain its identity or if it will shift to fit a new narrative.
Me and JW were about to watch the Cowboys game, and Joni was angry and said, Doug is in Colorado, and his ex-wife, had been begging him all day to reconcile and to choose her. And then Joni was like, it makes me want him more. Shows me what a great husband he'll be. Yeah. And I remember sitting there like, I truly cried out to God. Because,
What's especially concerning for many viewers is that Doug's leadership, while seemingly based in faith, has come under scrutiny due to the rapid pace of his relationship with Joni. The transition from Marcus' leadership to Doug's influence is happening quickly, and some feel it's happening too fast for the network's longtime viewers to adjust. Many of these viewers have grown accustomed to Marcus's leadership style and teachings, and now, with Doug stepping into a larger role, they're left wondering how Daystar's direction will change. Some are even questioning if Doug's personal life, including his remarriage to Joni, could have an impact on the network's credibility. There's also the matter of transparency. Marcus' leadership was known for its openness and for fostering a sense of trust with the Daystar audience. Viewers felt they knew him and understood his values. However, with Doug's rapid rise to prominence, many are concerned that the shift in leadership could create a lack of transparency in how the network operates. As Doug's influence continues to grow, viewers want to know if they can trust the messages being broadcast, or if the network is being steered in a new direction that no longer aligns with the values Marcus espoused. What's clear is that Doug's growing role is a signal that significant changes are underway. Daystar is at a crossroads, and its future is now in the hands of those who hold power within the network. Doug's relationship with Joni has already caused a stir, and the question now is whether his leadership will alter Daystar's mission, or whether it will maintain the legacy Marcus built. Will the network continue to focus on faith-based programming that strengthens families and builds Christian values, or will it veer in a new direction? The legacy of Marcus Lamb is intertwined with the history of Daystar, and as Doug and Joni continue to take on more prominent roles, the question remains whether they can honor that legacy or if they'll forge their own path. The future of Daystar is uncertain, but one thing is clear: viewers are watching closely. They want to know if the network's message will stay true to the principles that Marcus Lamb established, or if it will evolve into something entirely different. The impact of this shift on Daystar's legacy is something that will unfold over time, and only time will tell how it affects the future of the network and the families who rely on its message. Doug Weiss's rising role at Daystar Network has generated significant attention and raised many questions about his influence within the organization. Initially, Doug was known primarily for his work as a marriage counselor and for his books on relationship advice. His focus was on helping couples strengthen their marriages, and he built a solid reputation for himself in the Christian community. However, as his relationship with Joni Lamb developed, his role within Daystar began to grow, and this shift has not gone unnoticed by viewers, critics, and those close to the network. Doug's ascent within Daystar is both a professional and personal transformation. When he first became involved with the network, he was primarily known as a marriage expert and author, someone with a background in counseling and a focus on helping others heal from emotional and relational pain. His teachings on relationships were widely respected, and many saw him as a reliable resource for those seeking guidance on marriage, love, and faith. His professional expertise in counseling was coupled with a public image as a man of strong faith, someone who had weathered personal struggles and emerged with wisdom to share.
I want to assure you that all the allegations that are circulating against myself and my late husband are completely false. We have already begun to take legal steps to defend ourselves, and we will address the accusations in a God-honoring way. We stand firm in our faith, knowing that God is with us, and His purpose for Daystar is far greater than any present challenge we may be facing. While this attack is very painful and wrong, I know that our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against a spiritual enemy who seeks to destroy and divide no matter what the cost. I want to ask you for your prayers. Thank you for your continued love and support.
However, over time, Doug's role at Daystar expanded in ways that many found surprising. His relationship with Joni Lamb, the widow of Marcus Lamb and co-founder of the network, added a new layer of complexity to his involvement. As Joni and Doug's relationship blossomed, so did Doug's visibility and influence within the network. Before long, he was not just a marriage counselor, He was a prominent figure at the heart of Daystar's programming. This shift was not just about Doug's professional contributions, it was about his personal connection to Joni and his increasing presence on screen. For many viewers, Doug's rising prominence has been a point of contention. Some have welcomed his involvement, believing that his expertise could help strengthen the network's programming and bring valuable insights to its audience. Others, however, are concerned about the implications of Doug's rapid rise to power. For viewers who had come to trust Daystar as a network that upheld strong Christian values, the idea of a new figurehead taking charge, particularly one with a personal connection to Joni Lamb, raised questions about the integrity of the network's leadership and its commitment to the mission Marcus Lamb had built. One of the primary concerns surrounding Doug's increasing role is the speed at which it has happened. Marcus Lamb's death was barely a year ago, and yet Doug has quickly taken on a central position within Daystar, even to the point of being seen as the face of the network in certain contexts. This rapid shift has left many viewers wondering if the network is being steered by the right leadership. Doug's influence is not just about his professional expertise, but about the personal relationship he has with Joni Lamb, which some see as a conflict of interest. Many are asking whether Doug's role within Daystar is more about his connection to Joni than his qualifications or experience within the network. Furthermore, Doug's public persona has also shifted in the wake of his relationship with Joni. His once clear focus on marriage counseling and relationship advice has now been intertwined with his role within the Lamb family and the broader Daystar ministry. This blending of personal and professional life has made some viewers uncomfortable. There is a sense that Doug's rise to prominence is not solely based on his merit, but also on his connection to Joni and his willingness to step into a role that is closely tied to the Lamb family legacy. His increased visibility on Daystar's programming, along with his involvement in key decisions within the network, has led many to question whether his leadership is truly in line with the values Marcus Lamb championed. Doug's relationship with Joni has also led to a shift in the network's dynamic. For years, Marcus and Joni were the face of Daystar, with their personal and professional lives intricately intertwined. Together, they built the network and became icons in the Christian community. Their marriage, despite its struggles, was seen as an example of perseverance and faith. Now, with Joni's remarriage to Doug, there's a palpable tension surrounding the future of Daystar. Doug's influence, while undeniable, has raised questions about whether the network is moving away from the values that Marcus Lamb instilled in. The public perception of Doug's growing role has been polarized. On one hand, there are those who believe that Doug's leadership could be a positive force for the network. They argue that his experience in counseling and his knowledge of relationships could bring valuable insights to Daystar's programming and help guide the network through a time of transition. On the other hand, there are those who view Doug's rise with suspicion. They see his relationship with Joni as a conflict of interest and worry that his personal connection to her could undermine the integrity of the network's leadership. For many viewers, Doug's presence on Daystar has become synonymous with a shift in the network's mission. A shift that is difficult to reconcile with the values Marcus Lamb had established. Doug's increasing visibility on Daystar's programming, coupled with his personal relationship with Joni, has led to concerns about the direction the network is headed. Some viewers feel that the network's focus is shifting away from the principles of faith and family that Marcus Lamb championed in favor of a more commercialized approach to ministry. With Doug's rising role, many are questioning whether the network is prioritizing personal relationships over the spiritual integrity that once defined it. In conclusion, Doug Weiss's rising role within Daystar Network is a complex and contentious issue. While some view his increased involvement as a positive step forward, others are deeply concerned about the implications of his relationship with Joni Lamb and the speed at which he has assumed a central position within the network. The public's perception of Doug's role is divided, and many are asking whether his influence will ultimately strengthen Daystar or lead it in a new direction altogether. The questions surrounding Doug's leadership are not just about his qualifications or expertise, but about the broader legacy of Marcus Lamb and the future of Daystar itself. As the network continues to evolve under Doug's leadership, it remains to be seen whether it can maintain the integrity and values that made it such an influential force in the Christian media landscape. The future of the Lamb family and their ministry is uncertain, and for many filled with questions. What will happen to Daystar Network after Marcus Lamb's passing? What role will Joni Lamb play in the network's future? And how will Doug Weiss's increasing influence impact the direction of the ministry? These questions have been swirling around, and while some may have hoped for a smooth transition, the reality is much more complex. For over 30 years, Marcus and Joni Lamb were the face of Dayar Network. They built it from the ground up, creating a platform for Christian content that reached millions of viewers worldwide. Their marriage, while facing its challenges, was seen as an example of perseverance and faith. They presented themselves as a couple that had weathered the storms of life together, serving as a beacon for other Christian families and ministries. But now, with Marcus's passing and the rapidly evolving dynamics within the family, the future of Dayar feels uncertain. Joni Lamb, as the co-founder of the network, is undeniably a key figure in its future. However, her role is now more complicated than ever. With Marcus no longer around, Joni has had to step into a leadership role that she might not have been fully prepared for. While she has been a guiding force behind Dayar, her new relationship with Doug Weiss has complicated matters. Many within the network and among its viewers are concerned that the personal and professional are becoming too intertwined, and they wonder if this shift will affect the network's integrity and mission. One of the biggest concerns about the future of the Lamb family's ministry is the increasing influence of Doug Weiss. Doug's rise to prominence within Dayar has raised eyebrows. He was initially known for his work as a marriage counselor and author, helping couples strengthen their relationships. But since his relationship with Joni became public, his role within Dayar has grown significantly. Doug has become a central figure in the network, appearing on its programming and taking on responsibilities that once belonged to Marcus. His rapid ascent has left many wondering whether this is truly in the best interest of Dayar, or if it's the result of personal connections rather than merit. For some, Doug's growing role represents a positive shift for Dayar. His expertise in marriage counseling and his passion for helping others could bring a fresh perspective to the network's programming. He has already demonstrated his ability to connect with viewers through his teachings on relationships, and some believe he could be a valuable asset to Dayar's future. However, for others, Doug's involvement is seen as a conflict of interest. His personal relationship with Joni has raised concerns about his motivations and whether his influence is in line with the values Marcus Lamb instilled in the network. Beyond Doug's influence, the Lamb family is also facing the challenge of preserving Marcus's legacy. Marcus was a beloved figure in the Christian community, known for his passionate preaching and commitment to spreading the gospel. He built Dayar into a global platform for Christian television, and his influence extended far beyond the network itself. His sudden passing has left a void that is not easily filled, and many are wondering if Joni and her children can continue the work Marcus started. There are concerns that the network may lose its focus on the values Marcus championed, particularly if personal relationships and business interests begin to take precedence over spiritual integrity. Another factor that will shape the future of Dayar is the trust that the network's audience has placed in the Lamb family. For years, viewers tuned in to Dayar not just for its programming, but for the credibility and authenticity of its leaders. Marcus and Joni were seen as figures who genuinely cared about their viewers and were committed to building a ministry based on biblical principles. Now, with the changes in the family dynamic and the rise of new leadership, that trust is being tested. Some viewers are concerned that the family is drifting away from the original vision that made Dayar such a powerful force in Christian media. They worry that the network may become more focused on image management and personal interests than on its mission to spread the gospel. The future of Dayar also depends on how the Lamb family addresses the tension within the family itself. As the network's leadership has shifted, there have been reports of conflict between family members. The tension between Joni and her children, particularly her son Jonathan, has been widely discussed. Jonathan, who had expected to take over Dayar after Marcus's death, has expressed disappointment at not being named the future president. His public discontent has raised questions about the future direction of the network and whether the family can work together to continue Marcus's legacy. Some have suggested that the Lamb family's internal struggles may be affecting the network's ability to function smoothly and maintain its focus on its mission. In addition to family dynamics, the future of Dayar will be shaped by the broader landscape of Christian media. The rise of digital platforms and online content has changed the way people consume media, and traditional television networks like Dayar are facing increasing competition. To remain relevant, Dayar will need to adapt to these changes while maintaining its commitment to providing high-quality Christian programming. This will require strong leadership, a clear vision, and the ability to navigate the challenges of a rapidly changing media landscape. As the future of Dayar unfolds, one thing is certain: the Lamb family's journey will be closely watched by many. The decisions they make in the coming months and years will have a profound impact not only on the network, but on the broader Christian media community. The challenge will be balancing the personal and professional, honoring Marcus Lamb's legacy while navigating the complexities of family relationships and leadership transitions. The road ahead is uncertain, but the choices made by Joni Lamb, her children, and Doug Weiss will shape the future of Daystar for years to come. It remains to be seen whether they can preserve the integrity of the ministry that Marcus Lamb built, or whether the network will be forever changed by the events that have unfolded since his passing.